Impressions in cast partial denture. Now, why impressions are so important is because they form the basis foundation on which our casts are poured and on which the designing of our metal framework is performed based upon the wax pattern that we obtain. Now, all this is primarily done on the cast obtained from the impression that we take both in the diagnostic stage and also during the final stage. So, impressions mainly give us the negative replica of a structure, whereas when we pour the stone or the plaster, we obtain something called a cast or a model, which gives us the positive replica. Now, what has to be understood is that the impression varies depending upon the material that we use to obtain the impression from. It could be hydrocolloids or it could be just your basic elastomeric impression materials. It also depends upon the type of tray used. So it could be your custom trays, it could be your normal perforated stock trays, or it could be based upon the type of impression that we want. That is the ridge relation with the tooth, whether we want a functional or an anatomic impression. So ideally, if you're asked a question based upon the materials that we use in obtaining our impressions, it has to be based on hydrocolloids or your elastomeric materials. In cases of hydrocolloids, take this MCQ for example. So the MCQ goes, which of the following statements is true regarding your hydrocolloids? So the hydrocolloids in question are your agar and your alginate. So agar and alginate are type of hydrocolloids, but both vary in their properties as well as in their reactions. Agar, for example, is a reversible hydrocolloid, whereas alginate is an irreversible hydrocolloid. Apart from them, what has to be kept in mind is that agar sets mainly by a physical change, by a change in temperature. All right. So we have a processing tank in which the agar material is stored, then it's tempered before it's used for the impression material. So all changes which occur in the impression material agar is a physical change. Whereas in alginate, it is because of the reaction of various amount of components present in the mixture along with water, which gives us the final product which is used as an impression material. So when you're answering a question about agar and alginate, it's always best to get the basics right. Agar, it's always a physical and a reversible material, whereas alginate is an irreversible and a chemical material. So let's look at the options that we have. The first one is agar sets by physical change and the reaction is reversible. That is a correct statement. All right, so that's perfect. Alginate sets by a chemical change, the change is irreversible. Again, that's perfectly correct. The third option is the entrapment of air is more with alginate than with agar impression. Now, what is to be understood here is we do a process called spatulation with an alginate impression, in which we mix the mixture that is given to us, the powder contents, with water. Now, there is a novel method of mixing alginate that we all know is the figure of 8 motion, but the chances of air bubbles or air entrapment is more with alginate compared to your agar, because agar is normally stored at a temperature and we just whisk the mixture out and put it on our trays before taking the impression. So entrapment of air, which is again a big disadvantage with your alginate mixtures, is also a correct option. So all three are correct, which is why we will go for the final option, that is D, all of the above. Now, one more thing which is kept in mind with alginate is there are a couple of disadvantages. Biggest among them, that it shrinks. It exhibits processes called syneresis and imbibition, which I'll be discussing a bit later on. So that is one biggest disadvantage with your alginate material, but still they are the material of choice with regards to various procedures. Agar, however, we have to understand is more used as a duplicating material. Okay, so agar is a duplicating material which is more commonly used in your cast partials. We have two different casts in our cast partial, a master cast and a refractory cast. To obtain two different casts, we actually use agar more than any other material. So more than its advantage as an impression material, it's more conveniently used as a duplicating material. Now coming to the next MCQ, that is, when a hydrocolloid impression exhibits syneresis, it can be expected that A, the exudate has an accelerating effect on the setting reaction of the gypsum. B, the exudate has a retarding effect on the setting reaction of the gypsum. C, it results in a chalky cast surface. Or D, both B and C. So when we're talking about the exudate, we're talking about the final product which is formed. Okay. So what the first option basically tries to say is that the setting time is increased. Okay. So we have increased setting time in the first option. The second one, it has a decreased setting time, mainly because of the property of syneresis. Like I mentioned earlier, hydrocolloids, mainly alginate, has the property of syneresis and imbibition. Now, it shouldn't be confused. Imbibition, you just have to look at the word imbibe. Okay, imbibe mainly refers to absorb. Okay, so don't ever confuse syneresis and imbibition. You just have to understand that imbibition, it absorbs water. So whenever we aren't able to pour the cast immediately in a clinical scenario, right? So what we do is we place cotton rolls which are wet on top of the alginate impression materials. So it delays the process of its syneresis, the way it loses out water, because it gets to absorb water from the cotton rolls. This is in a clinical scenario. Apart from that, we also have a property called syneresis, where if it's just kept in a dry environment, it keeps releasing water. So the material will shrink. Ideally, the time by the manufacturer is 20 minutes. 20 minutes is the time in which an alginate impression material will shrink in a dry environment. So if you're doing your preparations or you're taking a replica of your anatomical structures in your mouth, that impression is going to get distorted after 20 minutes. So ideally, it's supposed to be done poured in 5 minutes. If not so, within 20 minutes, it has to be poured. If it has to be delayed, then you can keep it in a moist environment, especially with very less relative humidity or with wet cotton rolls, which would help in preventing these properties from coming into play. So also this third option, okay, results in a chalky cast surface. So what you have to understand is that the material is just your algin powder along with water. So when water gets released, it's going to give you a nice perforated surface, which when poured in a cast is going to give you a chalky surface. All right. So option B technically is right along with option C. Both that syneresis has a retarding effect on the setting time, the setting time decreases is correct, along with the fact that it gives you a chalky surface. So the answer for this would be D, both B and C. So coming from a clinical point of view, alginate is always a very good impression material that can be used for your cast partial dentures, even for your diagnostic impressions, and also plays an important role for your final impressions. Agar, however, is mainly used as a duplicating material. That is what you have to understand from an impression material point of view. So like I told earlier, the impressions, it depends upon the type of material used, the technique of taking the impressions, along with the trays that we use. Now, ideally, there are two types of impressions or impression techniques that we employ in everyday practice. The first one is a physiological impression technique. Okay, when I'm talking about physiological impression technique, I'm again talking about your anatomical and your functional. So what I mean when I say anatomical is that I am obtaining the impression at rest. When I say functional, I'm talking about a dynamic impression. All right. So one thing that has to be made clear is that the tissues are not always at rest, or nor are they always under stress. Okay. So we need an impression technique that takes both these scenarios under consideration. So ideally, under physiological impression technique, we have 4 different techniques. They are your MacLean's technique, Hindle's technique, which is basically a modified MacLean's technique again, a functional relining technique, and fluid wax technique. Now, all 4 of them employ a different procedure to obtain the impression in the physiological state. When I say physiological state, I mean in a combination of both anatomical as well as functional, so that we can record the tissues just like how they would be during both occlusion and during rest. Apart from the physiological impression technique, there is something called the selective pressure impression technique. So in this technique, we just exert pressure on areas which can be compressed, and those areas which need to be relieved, we relieve them. This is almost similar to the technique which you've learned in your complete dentures, your selective pressure. So in your complete dentures, you had your mucostatic and your mucocompressive. That as well comes under your mesoly or physiological techniques. Whereas a selective pressure technique employs only certain areas under pressure and relieves the other areas. We'll be discussing about these techniques in detail in a while. So coming to another MCQ. So for obtaining a functional impression for an RPD, so basically what it's asking is functional impression. The word is clear, which means certain areas have to be under stress while certain areas will be under rest. So let's look at the options. It's teeth are recorded in the anatomical form and ridge in the functional form. All right. The second is that teeth are recorded in the functional form and ridge in the anatomical form. The third says that both the teeth and ridge are recorded in anatomical and functional form. The third option is technically not possible because you cannot record all the tissues and the teeth both in the functional as well as in the anatomical, that is at rest. You cannot do a rest and dynamic impression at the same time. So third is not possible, come what may. Like looking at the first 2 options, right? So ideally, why we want a functional form is from the tissues, because tissues rebound under too much stress, or if they are under rest, they are not able to take all the load that is exerted on them. That is the reason why we need a functional based impression to accommodate for the process of, during the procedure of rest, you want to make sure that the tissues do not rebound. Okay. And during the process of occlusion, that is when load is exerted on the tissues, you want to make sure that they can withstand the stresses and push the load towards your bone. So ideally, we want to make sure that the tissues are recorded in the functional form, whereas the teeth in the anatomical form. That is a basis, that is the foundation for a functional based impression. So that is option number A. The teeth are recorded in the anatomical form and ridge in the functional form. Option B, we don't take it into consideration. There is no point of us recording just the teeth in the functional form, whereas the ridge in the anatomical form. So we go with the first option. So the next question, we just discussed a couple of techniques a little earlier. So the next question is based on a class 1 partial edentulous situation. Okay, so whenever they say class 1, they invariably mean Kennedy's classification. Okay, that's the most universally acceptable method of classification, and class 1 basically means bilateral edentulous areas. Okay, so the question is, in which impression technique can we record the class 1 scenario? So we have the Hindle, the fluid wax, the relining technique, or all the above. So like we just discussed earlier, all these 3 techniques along with MacLean's technique can be employed for recording impressions in a class 1 edentulous situation. I'll be dealing with these techniques in a bit. What you have to understand is all 4 techniques that we discussed in case of physiological impressions can be employed to obtain an impression of a class 1 edentulous arch. Okay, so another question based upon a class 1 and a class 2 scenario. It says that RPD impression for a Kennedy's class 1 and 2 differ from those that are taken for a complete denture impression in that it is a mucostatic impression, B, it should be a functional impression, C, all the above, or none of the above. So now what you have to understand is that what we are taking in case of Kennedy's class 1 and 2 is a functional impression or a physiological based impression. It is not a mucostatic. So the first option is incorrect, because mucostatic means we're recording all the tissues at rest. We are not putting any kind of forces on them, which is incorrect, which we have to make it as a functional impression, physiological impression. That is what option B signifies, that it should be a functional impression. So that would be a perfect choice for this question. So I just wanted to understand that the functional impression is more of a impression when stresses are exerted, whereas your impression at rest is only an anatomical form or your mucostatic impression. That can maybe employed for your diagnostic based impressions, but for your master cast, for your final impressions, you have to keep it in the functional form. Coming to the next question. A mucostatic impression for a prosthesis is taken for which of the following cases? So they are giving us certain scenarios in which we can employ a mucostatic impression and asking if it is possible. So the first one says a lower RPD with the Kennedy class 1 classification. Now this I would prefer going for either a selective pressure impression technique or a physiological based. So I do not want to employ a mucostatic impression because I want to record both the tissues as well as the teeth perfectly. So I will not be going for a mucostatic impression. The second option is again a lower RPD with Kennedy's class 2. When I say class 2, I mean a unilateral edentulous area. All right. So again there I would prefer going for a physiological impression technique compared to a mucostatic. Third option says upper RPD with a Kennedy class 4 classification. So class 4 is an edentulous area in the anterior which crosses the midline with no edentulous area posterior to it. Okay, that is your class 4 of your Kennedy's. Again, in this scenario, I would either just stick to my normal functional impression because again, I have a long span edentulous area. So I would not basically prefer going for a mucostatic. And the fourth option is a full upper and lower denture, which is ideally the case where we go for a mucostatic and we follow it up later on with your selective pressure impression technique. So both C and D are a good option, but because complete denture is available to me, I go for the safer option. All right. So I can still go for my fourth option.